So welcome to your second video for Black Voices of Change. We're going to be touching on a case that really has touched me in ways that I guess maybe it shouldn't, but I feel for this man personally on a level, and I don't understand his conviction. So I'm actually going to read the story to you. It's on the computer, which is right behind my camera, so I'll read it to you. On Friday, May 9th, 2014, just after 5:30 a.m. in Killeen, Texas, Marvin Guy was the target of a no-knock raid. The officers were looking for drugs, yet none were found in the home. There was some questionable paraphernalia, but nothing indicative of drug dealing or anything damning enough for a reasonable person to feel the need to take an officer's life. Unfortunately, the danger of no-knock raids is real. Just ask the parents of Baby Boo, I hope that's how you say his name, or the family of Detective Dinwiddie. Detective Dinwiddie was one of the SWAT officers who broke into Guy's house on May 9th based on a seemingly bogus informant tip about drugs being dealt from the home. Likely alarmed by the men climbing through his windows at 5:30 in the morning, Guy and his wife sought to protect themselves and their property and fired on the intruders in self-defense. Dinwiddie, along with three other officers, were shot in attempting to breach the windows to the home, according to the department's press release. The TRU was beginning to breach the window when the 49-year-old male inside opened fire, striking four officers. Since the shooting occurred during the break-in, a reasonable person would assume that they had not yet identified themselves as police officers. So how on earth is this not self-defense? Prosecutors are now seeking the death penalty against Guy, as he is charged with capital murder in Dinwiddie's death, as well as 3 counts of attempted capital murder for firing on 3 other officers during the shootout, injuring 1 other officer's body armor who protected others who were hit. Now, I'm just going to stop reading this story because the middle parts are not that important, but I will let you know that on December 19th of last year, just before 6 a.m. in Burleson County, Sergeant Adam Souders led a team to a no-knock marijuana raid in Henry Magee's mobile home in Somerville. Also startled by these intruders, Magee opened fire, fearing for the safety of himself and his then pregnant girlfriend. Souders was unfortunately killed among the chaos. Now, in February, a few months before the fateful raid in Killeen, where this black man killed an officer, all of the charges were dropped against Magee. It was found that he had every right because the grand jury believed that he feared for his safety and it was a reasonable act of self-defense. Do you want to know the difference between Mr. Magee and Mr. Guy? Mr. Magee is a white man. Mr. Magee had every right to defend his household because he's white. Do you know who didn't have the right to defend his household? Mr. Guy. Because he's African American. And because as an African American, he should have not shot at the intruders breaking into his home and endangering his family, but instead should have questioned them on whether or not they were police officers. Does that not disgust you yet? Well, what if I told you that the pictures that they used were even different? The picture that they used for Mr. Guy is his mugshot. They don't show him holding his child or loving his wife or any of those sorts of things. But Mr. Magee is shown on a bike holding what I'm assuming is his baby girl in a very family-oriented type of photo to show that he's quite the great man. Now, just like Mr. Guy's house had a tip given to it for the no-knock raid. So did Mr. Magee's. But his skin color allowed him to shoot and kill an officer and get away with it because he feared for his safety. But a black man can't fear for his safety. Do you see the problems here? Do you know that I've actually got quite a few white friends myself, and I think one of my favorite things in the world is that one of my white friends has actually admitted to hitting a police officer with no repercussions whatsoever. If I went outside and punched a police officer right now, I'd be dead before I got to swing. There is no excuse for the level of disrespect in this country for the African American population. There is no excuse for the fact that African Americans are 3 times more likely to be convicted of the exact same crimes as their white counterparts. One of my favorite things taught today in this media is that the black on black crime needs to stop. Did you know that I believe about 90% of all white people killed are killed by other white people? But there's no epidemic for white on white crime. Did you know that most of the black people who die nowadays, I don't still think we take up a majority of the percentage of black people killed. I don't think black people kill more people than white people kill. It's really sad to see that this man may go to jail and even lose his life for doing the exact same thing as somebody who just has lighter skin than him. On the next Black Voices of Change, which I will be doing again tonight, I will be bringing you a video of every single life lost to police brutality in the United States of America, where it is an instance of a black person being killed by the police. I thank you for joining us on Black Voices of Change. We will make sure to always educate you. And I think I've come up with the perfect slogan for this channel. They always say, if it ain't white, it ain't right. My cat is chewing on a plant. They always say, if it ain't white, it ain't right. I disagree with that. I'd say if it ain't black, we don't want it. I encourage you to go out and support black businesses. And let's make a change and make a difference.